will make 3 very quick points, and then we can run to lunch. How about that? Awesome. So we have some great content today. I should have compared notes with Jens Fabian. I love the revenue cat content. I've got a bunch of data that corroborates with what he does, and given how much data they see and how much data we see, it's good that we're both pointing in the same direction. Revenue cat integration came out last month, by the way. Very cool. Right. Let's quickly go through 3 quick points. If you don't know Paddle, we would love to see how we can help you with your web revenue journey. All these companies we're supporting and countless others. We see about $1.5 billion going through our merchant of record platform, helping you monetize on the web. And we see about $19 billion going through our metrics product. So a real good handle on what is driving global sales for consumer and prosumer apps. We're just going to dive quickly into this web revenue strategy. And a few people have mentioned it today. What we mean by this is people acquiring traffic through a web landing page, web onboarding, and going to the App Store after they've completed some form of onboarding and made a payment. And it gets a lot more complicated than this. We'd love to unpack a little bit of this today before we dive into what will be a delicious lunch, I'm sure, downstairs. 3 quick points. Firstly, web to app isn't just about a quiz funnel. It's one of the easiest ways to get started, but first point is that's not the only way you can do this. We've got examples across our entire customer base, and I've put this up there. You can get the slides afterwards. We don't need to stop on it, of 11, and I've got a bunch more on another slide, ways that people are driving traffic to their web funnel and then moving people through an onboarding flow. Quiz funnels are the very kind of quick and easy way that many people are doing it, very effective, but there's lots of other ways of doing it first. So first quick point, web to app does not equal just a quiz funnel. It can be lots of other things too. Jens Fabian actually dived into a bunch of pricing strategies. So I'm not going to talk about this in much depth, but grab us at our booth over lunch if you want to. We see pricing and packaging experiments from 5,000 businesses. And we'll love to talk to you about positioning, love to talk to you about pricing based on willingness to pay, so we can dive into any of that depth that you want to. The thing I would love you to remember is that our data over multiple years shows if you are doing a pricing and packaging experiment once a month, your ARPU is 103% higher over 3 years than those who do no experiments at all. Even bad experiments help you learn. Build a muscle for monetization. Build a muscle for pricing and packaging tests. So above all of the strategy options, just make sure you are testing. It outperforms ARPU every single day of the week. Number 2, very quick point. This whole web revenue, web funnels, web to app thing that's happening is not just about trying to avoid the Apple fees. I know that's sometimes where people start, but there's so much more richness in what's going on here and what's driving this trend. If we just quickly touch on a few points there. Firstly, it means you can experiment across the entire funnel with no data loss. That's really cool. All the way from first conversation or first audience targeting even, all the way through paywalls. We've just seen some funny Pepe examples of that right now, pricing, through to checkouts and payments, where they drop off, retention. And it's really important that as a consumer subscription app, you think about churn from day one. You think about, consumer subscriptions aren't forever, let's face it. And so you think about that entire journey, not just the onboarding you're trying to get people to pay, but all the way to that exit process. I'll show you some data on cancellation flows in a minute and managing that retention, which you can do really effectively on the web because you have that direct relationship. You can try lots of flexibility on bundling. We saw, and I know the new Apple Commerce API allows you to do some cool things there too, but you can do lots of very interesting pricing and packaging experiments on the web in order to drive up your average revenue per user. You can address a much larger audience through your performance channels. So, Meta and their competitors will tell you that if you're running web marketing through a web channel as well as through iOS, you're able to go to about 1.5 or 1.8 times the effective spend running through because there's just so much more audience you can target on the web. And then finally, this point on churn. HubX is one of our partners operating at decent scale. By implementing cancellation flows, and I'll give you an example in a minute, in 3 months they prevented over 100 grand of churn. 63% of users who wanted to cancel chose to do something else actively, and then that saved them that revenue. You've got lots of, and that's all built into Paddle's platform. There's lots of things you can do there to help monetize effectively as people are trying to leave. So let's just quickly stop on that, because Jens Fabian mentioned this, but I think it's really worthy of some examples. This is a very obvious example of how we run someone through a cancellation flow. We're sorry to see you go. How did we fall short? And we heard earlier, it's not just about allowing people to say it's too expensive. Think about multiple reasons why canceling is happening. And then you reposition back into a positive mindset. Did you like anything? Like, why did you choose this in the first step? So get some data, and then reposition back into a positive mindset before then offering, do you want to pause your plan? Do you want to downgrade to $2.99? Do you want to go free for a while? Or whatever the options that you want to provide are. This is where it is really interesting, though. 3 sets of ARPU ranges here, and you can see those who are running offboarding strategies here significantly outperform on churn than those who aren't. And this is users actively choosing the best option for them. They could still churn easily, one more click. We're not trying to create lots of friction in that process here. It's just about allowing them to give you some insight and to choose something else actively if they want to. Another advantage of having that direct customer relationship on web is that you can easily notify users and optimize term length. Whoop is a customer of ours, and they found that magic moment for term length optimization was, I think, after 3 user interactions with their dashboard. And that was the point where giving an annual plan upgrade and discount offer was the best time to then move people from a monthly plan through to an annual. And it significantly increased their LTV. So think about how you can do that upsell messaging as well, moving people to those higher value plans. I was a company founder, a SaaS founder, before I joined Paddle as CMO. We got acquired in 2019, and we always used to talk about champagne problems. All the founders in the room will know these problems intimately. The problems that come with getting something right. Your first customer is fantastic, but you've got to deal with customer support and feedback and other problems. Getting your first couple of members of staff is fantastic, but you've got to deal with all the performance surveys and when they don't turn up to work on time and how to make sure you work better together. Champagne problems of growth. And one of the problems we are seeing at the scale we're looking at that is worthy of just touching on is that scaling web to app brings champagne problems. It brings challenges because Apple is so able to deal with the payments infrastructure of your business. Suddenly when you move outside of that ecosystem, there's lots of stuff you've got to build. We quickly refer to it as do more, merchant of record. We'll explain what that means. Or DIY trying. You're going to build this DIY payment stack on the web. Because you start off just by implementing a Stripe or an Adyen or a PayPal, right? Very quick checkout implementation. But that's just one piece of this massive, complicated stack you've got to go and build as you scale to maintain compliance in every region where you sell to. It's not obvious to many people who have not sold outside of the major platforms that you've got to charge, calculate, and remit the right sales tax where the consumer is buying your product everywhere in the world. And all that stuff is the stuff that we bundle together and do for you so that if you're moving revenue or building revenue outside one of those major merchants of records at Google Play or the App Store, then Paddle can do all of that for you and make sure you've got one partner to scale from 0 to IPO. Allows you to do a whole bunch of other things that become interesting when you're selling globally via the web. We talked about localizing pricing earlier. The Netflix study is a good way of looking at that. The Big Mac Index is another rule of thumb for thinking about how you should localize around the world. Make that super easy. Local payment methods around the world. We've got loads of data on the advantages of offering local payment methods rolled out recently in China, in South Korea. We've got local payment methods in India rolling out soon, in LATAM soon as well, to make sure you've got maximum conversion through that checkout, but offering the right payment method at the point of purchase. You can also think about whether you're including or excluding sales tax at the point of conversion. Makes a big difference because, in Europe, it's always inclusive. In the US, it's not. And so adopting local norm there always means you're not dinged on conversion. And again, for time, I'm just going to skip through this. We've got lots of data across millions and millions of data points and dollars that talk about how offering more payment methods, localized currencies, and adjusting for willingness to pay in the regions you're selling to correlate with faster growth rates. Cool. I'm going to leave it there because we all need lunch. But I'm going to be downstairs. Our booth is in where there's lunch, and we'd be absolutely delighted to have a conversation, to dive into your pricing, dive into retention, think about how you build those web strategies. In fact, we've got a round table with Nathan Hudson at 2 o'clock, where he's going to be diving into the practicals of how you build that web channel, how you build web to app. So we'd love to talk to you there, and I hope you have a fantastic lunch. Come talk to us, and we will see you at the party this evening. Thank you so much.